The Udoka family lived a life many people could only dream of. They stayed in a beautiful rented duplex in Port Harcourt's GRA, where wealthy families lived. Samuel Udoka, the father, was a civil engineer who worked on oil rigs. His job was dangerous, but it paid well. His wife, Adaora, enjoyed the life his hard work provided. She didn't need to work. Instead, she spent her time going to parties, weddings, and other social events. At these events, she made sure everyone knew her by spraying money into the air, a sign of wealth. They had 4 cars, went on expensive vacations, and sent their 2 children, Ifunanya and Chibueze, to the best schools. Ifunanya, the eldest, had just turned 18 and started university. Chibueze was still in secondary school. Life seemed perfect for them. But there was a problem. Samuel didn't save much money. The family didn't have investments apart from a piece of land. Their money went toward their lifestyle, including paying over 4 million naira yearly rent for their home. Samuel always said, life is to be enjoyed, not just planned. One evening, Adaora was getting ready for another party when she got a call. It was bad news. Samuel had died in a terrible explosion on the oil rig. The accident was caused by equipment failure during an oil spill, and over 30 workers lost their lives. Adaora was shocked. She couldn't believe Samuel was gone. But as the days passed, she realized something even more frightening. Without Samuel's income, how would they survive? After Samuel's funeral, life became harder for the Udokas. The house felt empty without him. Adaora struggled to manage the bills piling up. For the first year, she sold one of the cars to pay the rent. By the second year, she sold another car. Ifunanya noticed the changes. At university, she couldn't afford new clothes or textbooks like her friends. She started feeling left out. Back at home, her younger brother Chibueze also realized things weren't the same. Adaora tried her best to act strong. She still attended social events, but not as often and with less style. She prayed every day, hoping for a miracle. But the rent, school fees, and other expenses kept coming. One day, Ifunanya came home from school crying. "Mama, I don't even have money for food, let alone my school needs," she said. Adaora hugged her daughter, but didn't know what to say. She had no money to help. That night, Ifunanya lay awake, thinking about the girls at her school, who still had nice things. They drove big cars and wore expensive clothes. How did they manage it? She decided she would find out. Ifunanya began observing the big girls at her university. One of them, Jessica, caught her attention. Jessica always had the latest gadgets, wore designer clothes, and even drove a flashy car. At a party one night, Ifunanya gathered her courage and introduced herself. "Hi, I'm Ifunanya. I really admire your style," she said shyly. Jessica smiled. "Thank you. You're sweet. Are you new here?" The 2 girls became friends quickly. Jessica introduced Ifunanya to her group of glamorous friends. They went to fancy parties and expensive restaurants, and Ifunanya felt like she belonged. One day, Jessica revealed the secret to their lifestyle. "It's all about finding wealthy men who want companionship," she said casually. "They give us money and gifts for our time." Ifunanya was shocked at first. But Jessica explained, "It's not a big deal. These men have money and they like spoiling us. You just have to be smart." Ifunanya thought about her family's struggles. The idea of making quick money to help her mother and pay for her needs became tempting. After weeks of hesitation, she agreed to try. Her first date was awkward, but the man was generous. He gave her a lot of money and she started feeling confident. Ifunanya's new lifestyle brought her money and attention, but it also came with risks. She started skipping classes and drifting away from her old friends. Her focus was now on keeping up with Jessica's group. One evening, Jessica introduced her to a man named Chief Obina. He was much older but very wealthy. Jessica told her, "Chief is generous. If he likes you, you'll never have to worry about money again." Ifunanya was nervous, but agreed to meet him. Chief invited her to dinner at a luxury hotel. He was charming and kind, making her feel special. By the end of the evening, he invited her to his villa. At the villa, Ifunanya noticed something strange. Chief sprinkled a powder under the board. When she asked about it, he laughed it off. "It's just a charm for good luck," he said. Ifunanya didn't think much of it. The next morning, Chief gave her a large sum of money. Ifunanya felt relieved and grateful. She sent part of the money to her mother, telling her it was from a friend helping with school. 3 days after Ifunanya's night at Chief Obina's villa, she woke up feeling weak. At first, she thought it was just stress, but by evening, her body was burning with fever, and painful boils started appearing on her skin. She told herself it would pass, but the illness grew worse. Each day, the boils spread further, and her strength drained away. Soon, she could barely get out of bed. Ifunanya called Jessica for help. "I'm really sick. I don't know what's happening to me," she cried. But Jessica, who had seen similar things before, avoided her. "I'm sorry, Ifunanya. I'm busy," she said quickly before hanging up. Ifunanya tried reaching out to other friends, but they also distanced themselves. Rumors spread around campus that she had a terrible disease. Alone and scared, Ifunanya returned home to her mother. Adaora was horrified when she saw her daughter. "What happened to you, my child?" she cried. She took Ifunanya to several hospitals, but the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong. They gave her medicine, but nothing worked. Ifunanya's condition worsened. The boils covered her entire body, and she began hallucinating. She screamed at invisible figures, accusing them of trying to hurt her. At night, she trashed in her sleep, whispering things Adaora couldn't understand. Adaora turned to prayer, begging God to heal her daughter. She also visited traditional healers and pastors searching for answers. One pastor finally told her, "This is not just a sickness, it's a spiritual attack. Someone has used her for evil." Adaora's heart sank. She confronted Ifunanya, begging her to tell the truth. In a moment of clarity, Ifunanya whispered, "Chief, the powder, the bed," before falling unconscious again. Adaora knew she had to act fast. She reached out to a well-known spiritual leader in their community. After listening to her story, the spiritual leader confirmed her fears. Chief Obina had used Ifunanya for a money ritual. The powder he had placed under the bed was meant to steal her life force and transfer it to him. The spiritual leader gave Adaora a plan. She had to perform intense prayers, fast, and follow specific instructions to break the curse. Adaora didn't hesitate. She gave up everything, including her pride, to save her daughter. The process was exhausting. Adaora prayed day and night, crying out to God for mercy. She fasted for days, her body growing weak, but her determination never wavered. She sold the family's last car and other valuables to pay for special treatments and ceremonies. Meanwhile, Ifunanya's condition worsened. She stopped recognizing people, and her once bright eyes were now dull. Neighbors began avoiding the house, whispering about curses and bad luck. But Adaora didn't care. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, Ifunanya began to improve. The boils started to heal, and her fever reduced. Her mind cleared little by little. One evening, after weeks of prayer and treatment, Ifunanya woke up and looked at her mother. "Mama," she said weakly, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cause all this." Adaora hugged her daughter tightly, tears streaming down her face. "You're my child," she said. "I will never give up on you." Ifunanya's body healed, but her spirit remained heavy. She couldn't forget the choices she had made or the pain she had caused her family. Guilt weighed on her, but Adaora reassured her. "God has given you a second chance," she said. "Use it wisely." With her mother's support, Ifunanya returned to school. She avoided Jessica and her old circle, focusing instead on her studies. It wasn't easy. She felt out of place, and whispers about her past followed her everywhere. But she stayed, determined. Adora also made changes. She sold the duplex and moved the family to a smaller, more affordable home. She started a small business, selling clothes, working hard to provide for her children. Life was simpler now, but it was honest and peaceful. Ifunanya began volunteering at a community center, sharing her story with young girls. She warned them about the dangers of chasing fast money and told them about her own mistakes. "I lost myself trying to fit in," she said, "but nothing is worth your life." One day, after speaking to a group of teenagers, a girl approached her. "Thank you for sharing your story," she said. "I was about to make the same mistake. You've saved me." Ifunanya smiled for the first time in a long time. Her pain had not been for nothing. She had found purpose in helping others avoid the traps she had fallen into. As Ifunanya walked home, she passed by a luxury car showroom. For a moment, she remembered the life she once dreamed of. But instead of envy, she felt peace. She had learned that true happiness came from within, not from wealth or appearances. Life is full of temptations, but quick solutions often come with hidden dangers. It's better to build a life with honesty and hard work, no matter how difficult the journey may seem.